All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Haven't done this since freaking was it Snyder Cut actually. Welcome to the Eternal spoiler cast, the most divisive MCU movie of all time. Apparently, just as divisive as the Snyder Cut. I mean, that's probably a stretch, but at any rate, joining me, I got DJ Sue, who's probably on the phone right now, and I got Joe, who is muted right now. Hold on, give me a second. Okay,
Sorry, I
there
was
you
trying
go.
to feed my cats.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got Joe here. I guess before, well, I wait till Sue's finished and stuff, but I guess for you, starting with you, I know you had your opinion about Eternals and stuff. I think you gave what 6 out of 10 or something like that.
Yeah, I saw it on what's the day? I saw it on Tuesday, and
Okay, so
it was all right. I don't. I mean, I like. I don't really pay attention to like people's reactions to things. I'm not a big like. Let me, dude. Reactions to me are just they're silly. So I don't. I saw some of them like scrolling through Twitter.
yeah,
And how it was like people were outraged and they hated it. Da, da, da. I didn't see any of that. Like I
yeah,
didn't hate it. I didn't think that anything was like ridiculous or absurd. It was just
it was okay.
yeah, it was like some of the characters I really liked. Like
Mhm.
Kingo, I liked. I like Fastos. Um, Athena was cool, but she was kind of like just it's like fucking make your mind, you know.
Yeah,
And I like the who was the chick that ran fast? Makari, is that her name?
yeah, Makari, yeah,
Okay,
Makari.
I liked her a lot too.
Hmm.
And then the fucking Kingo's valet was my favorite.
Yeah, everybody really liked him a lot. I actually thought
I
that
think it
was
was
actually
funny,
pretty
dude.
cool.
He was good, but like Icarus, I didn't like that character. I didn't like Richard Madden. Um, to me, and I know she said that the director said she like had some kind of like a Man of Steel influence.
Makes
It was
sense.
a
I mean,
really shitty poor man's like Superman.
which, for disclosure, that has been Marvel's staple for a while. Between, well, I ain't gonna say Icarus, but I would say more like Sentry and old boy from Squadron Supreme. I forgot the guy's name, but I mean that was pretty much what they were going for. Which I mean, I think anybody that's not Superman is going to be poor man Superman anyway. So that was going to be the curse with Icarus in the grand scheme of things. Which I don't blame her for actually being influenced by it, because I mean, even if I don't like Zack Snyder's like writing and stuff, I've always gave him credit that he knows how to do the larger than life characters like Superman to show like his power, which I think is fine. So
Yeah, but I mean, like Icarus was just the guy had two emotions. You know what I mean? He was either like in love with her
stoic.
or he was mad.
Yeah.
And I didn't like him. I couldn't fucking stand Sprite, you know.
Yeah.
And towards the end, when the shit goes down, I was like, all right, she can go. And Icarus can go. Um, I mean, I know like the basics of Eternals, so like the thing
Yeah.
at the end kind of was like, oh, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
The
But
way. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
the
ahead, Joe.
so we're doing full spoiler.
Yeah. Full spoilers. Yeah. We're going all in
So
on
when,
spoilers.
when he basically turns bad at the end, so to speak, quote unquote, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't see that one coming, but also I don't care.
Yeah.
And if he got thrown around by the deviants like it was nothing, how come fucking 7 Eternals couldn't take him down? Or 6 or 5 or whatever it was. Like,
Yeah. I think it was like four, because it was Bakari, Fastos, Stina. Yeah, it was just those
Cersei.
three that was fighting them. Cersei was like running away. So yeah, it was those three fighting Icarus.
I think
Yeah.
I said it on Twitter. Like, I'm more excited for what this potentially sets up than I am the movie itself.
Yeah, yeah. I know Sue, when we came out the theater, he said it was like a Marvel trying to do a DC movie, which he ain't the first person to say this.
No, that's exactly what it was.
Kinda, yeah.
Like that's exact. No, seriously, that's exactly what it was. Um, I came out of the movie saying, so Marvel, y'all really wasn't trying to cut Zack Snyder a check, huh?
I can't even blame him for that. That's the thing. It's like, I think that's the reason why I didn't mind everybody having mixed feelings on the movie, because like it's the Eternals, so that's it, you don't have nothing to latch on to. Like when you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Not everybody knew about them, but you can latch on to Rocket Raccoon and Groot, and you
Well, of
have like,
course.
yeah, you can latch on to them and you know what they're about. And I think with Eternals, unless you're really into that aspect of cosmic where it's just really fucking out there and shit, it was always going to get people split on it and stuff. So that's why I know a lot of people are offended by the DC comparisons. I'm like, no. If you know the Eternals, Squadron Supreme, and those type of characters, they're always going to get those comparisons between Justice League and them. So I don't knock anybody with the comparisons. Hell, I thought Makari was pretty much Flash minus the Speed Force.
She's more likable.
No, she was mute Flash.
Yeah,
and and she was awesome. You know, I said, you know what? First of all, shout outs to Homegirl for playing her. You know, I already always loved her as Connie on The Walking Dead, and
I'm mad I didn't catch that and you did. I was
Yeah,
like,
I caught
how
that.
did I see that?
dude, I caught that ASAP. As soon as I found out that, like, as soon as they mentioned, like, oh yeah, like, you know, she's a speedster, you know, but she's deaf, and I said, wait a minute, let me get a good look at her again. I looked at it as soon as I saw her face. I was like, holy shit, that's Connie. That is Connie from The Walking Dead. Let's
I did
go.
not know that she was in The Walking Dead. Even more surprising is that people still watch that show.
Hey, it's on the last season. Look,
It's on the last season before they go into the movies.
yeah, so it's yeah.
Fucking stop. Just stop already.
Listen, Joe. Listen. AMC and even what's his name? Freaking Andrew Lincoln recognized the mistake of letting him walk off the show, so they're making 3 movies based on him.
Hey, at least Kirkman gets all the 100% of the proceeds from that
Yes,
stuff.
sir.
So,
and
you know.
Universal's making it, from my understanding.
So hey,
But-
that's what we want out of it and stuff.
Right. But anyways, the other thing, like one of the things I liked about, like what I liked about the movie, besides Marvel really trying their best to go off of drama and not the typical Marvel superhero movie antics, you know, not the usual stuff that's, you know, not the usual shenanigans that they do. It's like, oh, you know, superhero moment here, and we'll throw in a freaking cheeky joke here, and you know, just the same old 3-point shtick in every other Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You know, we finally get something different, and I appreciated it because at the end of the day, Marvel will never do this again.
Or they do it, they'll make adjustments like, all right, we probably need to add somebody else to spice up the stuff. Because like I said, it's this.
And that's when you go right back into making a typical Marvel movie if you do that.
No. I think you can do it, but you have to make changes, i.e., I guess we could talk about the bad of the movie. I don't mind them doing drama. I think that's something they should do, but you got to make your decision of whether you're going to go drama or go epic with it. Because you can't, if you try to do both, you got to like be able to balance it. And I think the length of the movie kind of hurt it a little bit, because it's like, all right, you're doing a lot of talking. I like the atmosphere. You have it in a real world setting, but like you got to kind of like take your pick if you're going to go epic with it or you're going to go like grounded with it. And I think that's kind of where it kind of kicks in at and stuff. So if it's anything like the comics, I would not be surprised if they just start divvying out, you know, Eternals characters in other movies or properties and stuff instead of having them come back together again for another movie again or something. Like,
Well,
they
they
got to do
mentioned-
something.
They mentioned that, you know, the other Eternals exist, so it's not like the Eternals is this core group. I mean, it's I mean, shit, man, they kill off 2 characters in the movie, which surprised me. And
Telling me.
It's not like they were even the originals either.
but it's like I watching it, I'm like, okay, I can see them individually interacting with different Marvel characters. For instance, I could see Phastos and Shuri interacting. I could see Phastos and eventually Reed Richards interacting, you know, or even Peter Parker. I mean, anybody who shares that kind of like love for
I mean, they even had
engineering and
Cersei in the comics teaming up with Black Knight in the Avengers because that's what she did, you know, and stuff. So,
but I mean, like, I just, to me, I'm like, how do you put these guys back together and then have them be part of another group. Let's say the Avengers, or
Say
even
more
like
Guardians.
the X-Men, or even the Guardians. I mean, they're infinitely more powerful than anybody on the team, on the Guardians team. So why do you need the Guardians? You know what I mean?
It's a Superman. It's a Superman conundrum.
No, well, the interesting fact of that is, hell, and they answered that question in the movie. So why didn't you guys stop Thanos? Oh, we're not allowed to interfere.
The Celestials told us not to interfere, and I was
Don't
like, well,
interfere.
I was like, well, the Celestials are assholes. First off, which opens up even more questions because it's like, all right, they got to start explaining Thanos and his whole thing with the Celestials, because then now it starts questioning, like, did Thanos know that this was the Celestials' end goal, hence why he wanted the stones? And that bullshit backstory about, like, nah, resources. And I'm like, did you know the whole time?
Something tells me he did. AKA Thanos was
I ain't
right.
saying it's right. I ain't saying it's right.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not saying his actions are right. I'm saying that he himself was right.
But the whole logic of the Eternals not interfering falls apart on itself, because to me that scene was just to be like, shut the fuck up, everybody. We know that, because I read that this takes place, you know, at the same time as like Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
because she mentions like who is going to take over for Captain Rogers or whatever.
Yeah,
but like there is no good reason. I mean, with the addition of like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, you're going to have to explain like, where the fuck were you guys? Unless you just say multiverse, we had no idea. But this one was like, okay, you guys have been here for thousands of years. Where the fuck were you? And they're like, oh, well, we were told not to interfere. Yeah, but you guys were still told not to interfere, and you interfered. So, like, your logic falls apart on itself. So there's a universal threat that's going to wipe out half the life on across the universe, and you don't interfere then, but it's going to destroy Earth today, and you're like, fuck that. To me, I was like, what?
Well, I mean, I think that's why them talking about it made it kind of palatable, because even Drew, because the fact that some of them were like, hold up, why are we listening to Celestials? We should be interfering. Like Druig, that's why I liked his character a lot, because he was like, nah, man, we should be like interfering, because humans really can't do anything without us.
But I mean, if that question had been raised and Druig said, some of us tried, but you know, Arishem stopped us or whatever, that's why I'm resentful to this idea. Okay, you know, he tried to help, but you know, mom told us not to, and then we didn't. But you know, fucking Big Daddy told you not to do anything, and you're like, fuck that, we like Earth.
I'm gonna be mad if there's a deleted scene where he did interfere, and I'm like, why didn't you just keep that in the movie?
And I mean, it's I thought Druig was supposed to be the most kind of unlikable character.
But he got likable.
Yeah, there were parts where I'm like, he's not wrong. Like, he's not wrong.
I enjoyed just seeing him trying to prove the whole thing wrong by interfering with everything. And and when they said, no, we're not supposed to do that, my man said, hold my screwdriver, and went in to interfere.
It's like, nah, bro, genocide, fuck this. Nah, bro, that's not happening.
Like, hey, I see two people over here about the box. Nope, mind control. Like, y'all gonna slap each other once and then hug.
You know what? I see your point, Joe, about Sprite, because I think she was the one that's like, you know how people complain about kid characters in movies and how they're annoying? Like, she wasn't annoying. I get the idea of it. Like, hey, I want to be, you know, a grown woman or be able to grow up and stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, it could have been better executed a little bit. Like, I get it, but it's like
the melodrama of like coming from her of, why did I have to be this way?
No, it's just, what's the point? Like, if you're thinking about the Celestial, who, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the Celestials also create mutants in the comics?
No, so basically what it was is they, much like anything else with the Eternals, they seeded the thing where they came to Earth, and like basically they kind of seeded the whole thing of the mutant evolution came naturally because of their interference kind of thing. So they didn't necessarily like, it's like some people got mutant powers, some
But you can
people's
tie
family
mutants to
human.
them.
Yeah, to a degree.
Okay,
Basically.
so
Yeah.
if he's saying, you know, I created you, you guys are basically all like super duper high end fucking androids. You know,
Yeah.
what is the point of creating her like that? And it's even with like the accents. I mean, you have two Irish people, you have an Indian guy, et cetera, and I'm like, I understand the need for diversity in the movies, and I don't want all these fucking characters to be white or whatever. I don't want to see that shit. But where's the explanation of like, when I created you in the image of blah 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 blah. It was just a lot to just be like, oh, okay, you know, she's deaf. Well, why did you make her deaf?
Yeah. I don't
You
think,
know
but
what I
I think
mean?
that's to the thing of their their handicaps, so to speak, it's not hindering them for doing what they do.
No, but I mean, you have a higher being creating. Okay, this movie basically says God doesn't exist.
Pretty
I mean,
much, more or less.
Right. So, like, you know, fucking religious people are going to get super pissed off at this movie because this movie basically says, here are your gods.
Mhm.
God doesn't exist. The Celestials or the da 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 da. Okay, fine. But if you're going to include deaf people, you know, a girl with a, let's say, like an aging thing, okay, fine. But you're not going to try to explain that, because how many kids, deaf kids, whatever, are like, why was I born deaf? Why was I made different?
Yeah.
And it's great to see a deaf hero included. But when you're explaining how I created you, da, 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 it's like, I'm just like, okay, well, he's gay. How did you, like, why did you make him gay? You know what I mean? Like, was
Yeah,
it to fit in with humanity?
You got a story for this one, smart guy?
Yeah, it's like there was just too much in that movie that you were just supposed to just be like, it's like they over explained shit that I didn't fucking care about.
Yeah.
Like the love story. I don't give, I maybe I'm the only one. Do either of you guys buy the fucking romance between Gemma Chan and Richard Madden? Because I don't.
I put it this way, I bought her and Kit Harington.
Sure. He's human.
And that's,
he's supposed to be
because
human.
he's human, so it's like her being part of humans, she got acclimated to being around him and their chemistry would work. Her and Richard Madden, I bought it in the early beginnings of that whole thing and stuff, but then later on it's like you can't re-spark that again, because whatever connection y'all had earlier on before y'all broke off, it's gone, it's dead.
Well, again,
for me,
Kit
I'm gonna say,
Harington.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna say for me, no, I couldn't buy it, and the reason why I couldn't buy it is the same way that I felt about Invincible. My man is gonna, like, by the time my man hits 500 years old, everybody else that he knows around him is gonna be dead. So what's the point?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing for her. Like, you are already at this point 5,000 years old, and you still look the same. Like, eventually, my man is gonna hit like 60 and be like, "Hey, the jig is up. You still look the same, like from the day we met. Like, what the fuck is going on? What you been doing?"
So
Well, you're right, but I mean, that's why in Invincible he ends up falling in for Adam Eve, because at least she's a superpower being that can kind of relate to him, and that's what they're trying to do in this movie. Like, dude, I don't watch Game of Thrones, and I know the fucking Kit Harington. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that. But dude, Richard Madden, like, I've seen him in a couple of things. He's always good as a bad guy. Like, he plays a good villain because he just looks like a smug asshole.
And he looks like what's his face that played Winter Soldier's like twin brother.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did
a little bit.
Look like him.
But every time I see him, the guy has two speeds.
Bucky.
He's got mad, and he's got like, I'm in love. Wasn't he? I don't know if you guys saw the Elton John.
Oh, Rocket
movie.
Man. Was it John
Yeah.
Reed? Was it John Reed, I think?
Yeah, he was mad, or he was in love with him,
Or
and
you
it was
get
the
in-
same
or you
fucking
get in-
character, except he could fly.
Or you get in between. He was in 1917, and I was like, oh, well, he's just distressed. Richard Madden.
Yeah, he's got two
1917, he's
speeds.
just running.
Yeah, just running. It's like, all right.
And like, I'm sure he's a good actor.
Oh, he's good. He's good.
I didn't see him in Game of Thrones, but I mean, he's got a look where you could be like that. Like, you know what I kept thinking of when I was watching this movie? I was like, this fucking guy should have been Cyclops.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like, this fucking guy, you should have. It's the same way in Man of Steel. They had Christopher Maloney as the was he the Air Force captain that didn't like Superman.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, this fucking guy should have been Lex Luthor, but you just used him for whatever. And I was watching the movie, and I'm like, this fucking guy should have been Cyclops. You should have. He's a good-looking guy. I'm sure he's a good actor. You know, people know who he is, but he's not like a super duper big star. So you could have gotten some name recognition for the character of Cyclops.
He can double dip. It's never too late. Gemma Chan double dipped.
Yeah, but she was like unknown fucking Kree soldier. And
yeah. I mean, you just throwing some shades on him, you could probably be like, all right, that's cool.
I didn't like his character. I at the end when he turned, I'm like, okay. Like,
Shaggy brought up a good point though. Did he exactly turn? Because it just seems as though he just went along with what he was supposed to be doing in the first place.
But he turned on them.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
He turned on them, and it just was like, dude, like I couldn't stand that fucking character, and I couldn't stand the character of Sprite. And I liked, is it Don Lee that played Gilgamesh?
Oh, dude, Don, man, look, he's about to end up becoming old boy that always dies in movies. What's his face? Oh, goddamn, dude that died in Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
Sean Bean.
Yeah, Sean Bean. He's like Asian Sean Bean, because if you watch any of the movies that he's been in and stuff, like Train to Busan and such, like he dies in like damn near every movie. And he's like the best character.
Yeah, his character was really good. I liked his powers.
And ironically, which is ironic because in both this movie and Train to Busan, hey, he let everybody know that his hands were rated E for everyone.
Also, he had a really good connection with Angelina Jolie in this movie.
He did.
I see. Okay,
that's the romance I want.
Thank you.
I didn't buy Gemma Chan and Icarus fucking at all, right? And I don't know if it's because the actors, the chemistry just wasn't there. I totally bought into Thena and Gilgamesh, even though, like, she loved him and he loved her, but it wasn't like romantic.
I'm all over you.
Let's have sex. I mean, she knew that like he was her protector and he loved her and everything. And I mean, it's like the lines that he told her at the end, like, you know, I would do it again or whatever. I bought that shit.
Now,
Totally bought it.
Now, Joe, hold on. don't think for 1 second. I mean, come on, it's Angelina Jolie. Don't think that that's not out the realm of if she was to approach him and be like, "Hey, let's do this." You really think he's gonna put up the gauntlets and be like,
"Nope"?
Oh. You really think he's gonna put up the gauntlets and be like, "All right, let's throw down"? No. I meant have sex. No,
dude, I don't know how old she is. She's still. I mean, her and Salma Hayek. I was like, God damn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
like they both still look good. I mean, like stunningly good.
Selma Hayek, I think, is 53 or 54. And
she's 54. Yeah,
she can be 153, and she still was like, God damn.
I think if Angeline benefits that she hasn't been in a lot of movies, so it feels like she's just preserved herself.
Oh yeah, because every time I saw Angeline, I was like, fights back and Wanted.
Basically, I mean, it's
Stairs and Hackers.
And it was weird to me to see folks be mad that it's like the director didn't use Angeline that much. I'm like, it's an ensemble movie, so like I get you love Angeline, but like I think even Angeline came out and was like, hey, I'm actually glad. I actually love my role in this movie. This is what I want to do. Just keep it as a ensemble. You need me, cool. I'm in. That's it. I'll take the limited. I'll take the supporting role.
Like you need me to just show up and do my lines and Stairs and Beowulf.
Yeah, I'll do it. No problem. she's down for the supporting role. I'm like, well, if she's happy, you know what? Cool.
Right. It's like I said, man. It's like some of the characters. I liked Thena. I liked her power set. I liked how they demonstrated, you know, that Athena was after her. I like how they made up the story about Icarus and the wax wings and shit like that. I like how they're basically saying, oh yeah, you know, we've been involved in things for centuries, and I like that aspect. I didn't like the time jumping. I felt like you could have told all the ancient history before the modern day shit
Mm.
and still gotten the same effect. I didn't like the time jumping at all. At all. Like that it kind of just was like, this is fucking stupid. Just tell me what happened and then
Go in order through the canonical time
go.
timeline and stuff.
Some time jumping is good and it's done well, but some of it I'm like, and maybe it's because they look exactly the same,
Yeah,
you know, and like,
there's no aging up.
well, not only that, but like when they're walking through the desert, it flashes back to them in the desert, and you're like, wait, are we like modern day or are we now? And then it tells you, you know, 500 years ago. And I don't know about you guys, but these are by far the most generic and forgettable quote unquote villains.
Yeah, because the deviants in the comics are more they're more pronounced, they're more known, and I think they just went with generic villain. And even the one that was like smart, there was potential for that character to actually have something, and then it was like, oh, well, dead. That's
No, I got
Crawl-
you.
Crawl or
No,
whatever his name
wait,
is.
wait, no. I got a question. Since you said, hey, Joe, since you said these were the most generic looking, this will make you think. Which was more generic, these guys or the bad guys in Dark Phoenix?
I never saw it. I don't watch Dark Phoenix. I don't
yeah,
watch
he's never saw Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
So that's,
Well,
I was-
all right. Pass the question on to Chris then.
I would
That
say
should answer
these,
your question right there.
hey,
I
the
stopped
villain.
watching those movies.
All I'll say is this, Joe, and Eris, you'll like this. At least the Eternals villains had more character or something that popped out versus the generic villains in Dark Phoenix, because those were like generic aliens number 52.
They might have been generic aliens, but let's be real. Disney pretty much yanked everything from them, so they couldn't use.
They couldn't do
They
shit.
couldn't do shit about
So are
it.
they gonna steal me and probe me? What's going on here? I don't know. At
They
least
couldn't even use their real names.
But at least these, it's like these, they're generic in the baseline of like, okay, it's a winged one, and then there's one with claws, and then there's one that's like, all right, cool. It's just like I wish the deviants were a little, like I said, the smart one that was potential to do something. It's like, oh, and he's dead. Well, fuck.
The smart one literally turned into a Marvel's "What If" character episode.
It's like I will kill you
Because like the moment he gained intelligence and started talking, I'm like, this is what happens if Vision got all of the Infinity Stones.
and then him popping up during that fight between the Eternals, I was like, what are you going to do, sir?
No, the fact that he showed up in the fight and he fights Angelina, like when he fights Angelina, I'm going, damn, like shit's about to go down. You know, he already like took the powers of the guy who's been watching her like for all these years, and what's she gonna do, man?
Dude,
Slice and dice.
It was literally Green Lantern, Flash, and Wonder Woman fighting Superman, and then all of a sudden, fucking, I don't know, Joker pops up out of nowhere, like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" I'm like, "What are you gonna do, sir?" Like,
sir, that was not Joker. That was Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Let's keep it
respectful. I don't know.
Why did he whoop Icarus's ass in the forest, but now he can't do shit?
Yeah,
That's my point. Is like they can't figure out. Okay, is Icarus powerful, but he still has limits? Like he got hurt, you know, he got stabbed or whatever. So he's not necessarily Superman in the sense of like you either have to have magic or kryptonite or someone equally or more powerful than Superman to hurt him. This deviant, like he got fucked up by a couple of different deviants, whereas in the beginning he you know fucking cut that thing's head off or whatever with his eyes.
Yeah.
But then at the end, when Kroll jumps in, it's like you just whooped this guy's ass like 20 minutes ago. But now because he's got angry eyes, now he's more powerful. Like there was just too much inconsistency for me. And then when Athena says Druid tried to like he put me to sleep. Okay, so Druid can then control the Eternals. Why couldn't he just shut Icarus down?
Yeah.
It's like it's not even that like I don't know a ton. I know the basic gist of the Eternals, the whole Kirby run and shit like that. It's that like you guys were just kind of making shit up as you went and
Well, I mean, that
changing
was,
the rules.
I mean, Jack Kirby, like he himself, when he came on to when he put the Eternals in Marvel, that was basically him taking everything that he did with New Gods and DC, since DC didn't want to let him finish it, and just putting it in Marvel.
Yeah.
So it's like at this point, and I kind of hate when comics do it too. It's like they'll be very wishy-washy with the power set of like characters like this, and I'm like, can I just get a baseline of what these characters can do instead of y'all just depowering them for your story? Like the biggest example that I hated more so was World War Hulk, where it's like, all right, I get Hulk is powerful, so I'm not knocking that. The fact that you had this Warbound beat the most powerful people like Captain Marvel and She-Hulk, I'm like, that's impossible. What are we doing here? Like, you can't do that. And I think that's what, your point with the Eternals, it makes sense, because it's like, well, if Icarus is beating these deviants in one instance, how is he struggling now? Like, what's going on? Like, if you at least told me he held back because he wanted to kind of keep the thing going, all right, cool. But then you don't drop that until the end of the movie. And it's like, well, I wish you guys established that earlier on, that this is the reason why, maybe that's why he held back or something.
It was just wildly, it was just wildly inconsistent. And to your point, New Gods is infinitely fucking better than the Eternals.
Uh,
I mean, same idea, but yeah, I mean,
I understand that it's Marvel's version of that. I get it. Like, I mean, I would give anything to see DC finish the New Gods what they started in Justice League with like Darkseid than anything to do with the Eternals.
I mean, somebody need to. They should, to be honest with you, they probably shouldn't have canceled what they did with the New Gods, because I'm like, damn, God, like y'all shit was that bad that you couldn't get them going. Like,
but I mean, like with this movie, it's like, dude, even the look, I fucking hated the way they looked. They were all one color.
Standard costumes. I mean, it was just it was basic. I like the designs of them on the details of it, but yeah, it is kind of like
the detail and everything was great. But Icarus has what, black, yellow, red, and blue.
I thought it was blue and like yellow. I didn't see the black in it.
He has a red skirt and he has the black outlining whatever that power like orbs around him.
Oh, okay.
So like it's the same thing with Superman. The red exists to break up the blue. Otherwise, it's just a sea of blue on his body. You can't tell what's what. With Icarus, I was, with costumes, I'm like, why couldn't you throw some fucking red in there? Like, why couldn't it looked over complicated? And it was like, hey, let's add a bunch of fucking designs and circles and everything to make them look like ethereal. And then, but when you see them in motion, I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? You know what I mean? Like, why does Cersei have like a scarf?
Huh. Yeah, because hers is all white with the scarf.
No, Athena's is white.
Yeah, Athena,
Cersei's
my bad.
is green.
Yeah.
But, like, there's just a lot of choices in the movie when I was watching it where I'm like, I don't understand like why you did this. I don't understand why you did that. It's a good looking movie. Like it's shot well and it looks good. The effects for the most part are really well done. But in terms of like, for me, the character development and like the design choices, I'm just like, what the fuck is all this? Like, at least the Guardians, they made Peter Quill instantly likable. You know what I mean? Yeah. And with this one, you're like, okay, so they're old and they live among us and they save school children. Cool. Like, great.
I mean, like you said, some of the ones that you did, like Fastos, you end up like liking them because they had some character to them.
He got attitude.
Yeah.
Who was that? Brian Tyree Henry?
Yeah.
Like, he's fucking good, man. When he's like, you know what happens to the world? Your sarcasm. Like, he just throws that shit out. I was like, damn, good for you.
I mean, that's that. I mean, this is one of those. You know what? Okay. I'm going to tell you what was the fun. This is the first time since the end of Avengers that people were kind of like, what the fuck is this? The post-credit scene where we got Pip and Star Fox. I saw a lot of folks kind of like, what the fuck is this? Immediately, which I get. I totally get, because it's out there.
Was that Harry Styles?
Huh?
Is that Harry Styles?
What, voicing Pip the Troll?
No, playing
Star
Thanos' brother.
Fox.
Yeah. Harry Styles, that's him.
Because that's what my girlfriend said, and I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck he is. So
I've
That
seen
was
him
a-
before in a
it
couple
was
of
a
stuff.
honestly that was a deep reach when they when they pulled that one.
You said Eros, the brother of Thanos. I was like, wow, they really went there with that.
And
All right.
and then the other one, the second post credit scene, we're about to see
the voice though.
as soon as we saw the Black Knight about to do his thing, I was like, oh shit. And the moment he touches that sword, like it's about to be on. And then we hear the voice, and I go, it's Blade.
That's what I told you.
I think
like,
a lot. Like I had to
it's
sit when you
freaking
said
Blade.
that. When you said that, I was like, hold up. I had to think. I was like, oh shit, that is Blade because Blade and Black Knight have like
They've
been on a
crossed
team
paths.
together. Gosh, yeah, and the fact that they actually did get Mahershala Ali just to go in the booth just to say that line and then put that in the movie, I was like, all right, cool.
Man.
That was their way of saying, hey guys, we know Blade is coming.
Like,
Chill.
Blade's coming. Just relax.
Yeah, but,
He's coming.
he's got a very distinct voice.
Yeah.
And when when he like again, they're starting to get into characters that I'm not like overly familiar with. I mean, I know the core of the Eternals. I know the basics of Black Knight. I know more about Blade, but like you're starting to kind of dabble into shit. So it's, to me, watching these movies, I feel like my girlfriend, for instance, right? She doesn't know shit about these movies. She likes them, but she doesn't know like the history. So I'm constantly explaining things to her.
Yeah.
But like I kind of know like this is supposed to do this and this is the. But like with Eternals, it's one of the first Marvel movies where I kind of get to watch it where I don't really know too much, and it's fun. And with like the Black Knight, I know he touches the sword. I know that especially when you see like the seal, of the Black Knight, I'm like, okay, I know what that is. But man, when you hear that voice, my friend leaned over and he's like, "Who is that? Is that supposed to be like Black Panther or something?" And I'm like, "Dude, that's fucking Blade."
Black Panther.
And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "That's fucking Blade."
Yeah,
They were both like, "What does he have to do with anything?" And I'm like, "Hold on a second, guys. That was they're basically telling you right now, Blade is coming, and he's going to have a bigger involvement with different characters."
Look, as soon as I saw that, and I
Man.
was like, that means we're getting Captain Britain. That means we're getting the Spitfire. Yes.
I mean, everyone is also expecting, well, and I was one of them at first, until I saw this movie. Everybody was expecting Blade to show up in Morbius at some point in Morbius, whether it be the end or post-credit scene. Like people were more expecting to see him there. If anything, he'll make his first appearance in Morbius. But seeing how he verbally appeared in Eternals at the end, that's already them taking steps.
But isn't Mahershala Ali contracted to Marvel and Disney, not Sony?
He's contracted to Marvel. It's not Sony's.
Yeah,
so I mean, he can.
He could always pop. I mean, he could pop up in the movie. He could just just show up.
I mean, after what happened today with the whole Disney Plus stuff with Spider-Man stuff being on Disney Plus, I'm pretty sure Sony re-upped with Disney on a lot.
Yeah,
of
but
stuff,
are you sure though? Because Marvel has owned the animation rights and the licensing rights to Spider-Man. Sony just owns the movie rights. That's why they could put him in What If, but it couldn't be Tom Holland. And so, like, because they're doing a new animated series doesn't mean Sony re-up.
It could be, but like I said, I think their deal is basically they can use any of Marvel's characters that's not part of the Spider Universe in their stuff. That's how you got, that's how you got some of like Michael Keaton's, Well, I mean, that is a Sony character. That is a Spider-Man character.
So like if like Sam Wilson showed up in Morbius, then I'm like, oh shit, they must have re-up. But they're not using anything that's outside of that deal that we know of.
I mean, the only thing we know in Spider-Man, other than Doctor Strange, that's about it for right now.
Well, I mean, like he's part like No Way Home is quote unquote the end of that deal.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that like Doctor Strange would pop up. I think Scarlet Witch is rumored to pop up at some point or whatever the fuck. Like even Matt Murdock. Like Matt Murdock belongs to Marvel now. So he can show up in Spider-Man, but he's probably unlikely to show up in Morbius or whatever. Like Morbius seems to be very rooted in like the Sony, like Morbius and Venom kind of look the same to me. Like visually, like they would exist in the same world.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Where like Spider-Man, if somebody does bring him back and end the deal, you're gonna have to retcon some shit to make him fit into those movies. You know what I mean? Like
play fast and loose like they did at the end of the second Venom movie, where it's like, oh, now he's in the MCU question mark because of that.
I didn't see the end. The
the end credits.
Scene.
Yeah, the end credits basically Venom and Eddie are at this. They're on some tropical island. They're watching TV.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, so they're watching TV.
Well, technically, they were on the run.
Yeah, they were on the run. They're watching TV, and then all of a sudden, you see a light, and it just flashes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, they wake up. They're looking at the TV, and it's literally the scene from the end of Spider-Man: Far From Home, where J. Jonah Jameson outs Peter as Spider-Man, and Venom literally looks at the TV like, "Huh, I hate that guy," and I'm like.
He says that?
Yeah, he does. But I think it's more, because this is still Sony. It's Sony playing off of the Into the Spider-Verse, where that freaking, where that time wave didn't just happen in that movie. It wasn't just contained to that movie. Like, from my understanding, Sony, Marvel, Disney, they definitely had to sit down and worked out a deal to where that effect was going to like branch across into the MCU No Way Home, when Doctor Strange tries to cast that spell to make everybody forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and when something happened and the spell gets messed up or whatever, it was because of the Spider-Verse. Because of the events of Enter the Spider-Verse, it's basically bled over into the MCU, as well as the Venom movie. So now all three all three worlds are going to come together.
Yeah. You're saying they're going to combine the animated universe with the MCU movies?
That's allegedly what they're trying to do.
In a way,
I find that hard to believe.
Not necessarily that. I mean, it's just going to open up the universes to where, I mean, come on, we already got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So now with the Spider-Verse, you got a shitload of Spider-Man and the universes that they belong to. Yep. And this is going to be no different.
Yeah. Like, I can understand how I didn't see Venom because that fucking first movie was terrible, but I have no interest in those movies. Like, that Morbius kind of looks cool. Like, okay, he at least looks like Morbius. Like, okay, cool, but there's also a strong chance that movie shits the bed. And
I mean, to me, honest with you, a buddy of ours basically said it best, is that Sony has kept the budget for those films at a reasonable level to where all they gotta do is do better than what they had the budget for, and they're fine. That's why, like, Venom, the first Venom did such great because the budget was low.
Movies.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the second Venom, the Carnage movie, which I ain't gonna lie, it was actually a bit better than the first movie, which that's a low bar to kind of climb over. It's not hard because it's Venom, it's Carnage, so they didn't fuck that up and stuff. But that's how it was able to make the money that it made and stuff. And I think Morbius, because it's, at least to me, it feels like the typical vampire movie we've seen before. That's probably why I'm kind of like whatever about it. But I'm pretty sure it's gonna do fine. It'd be nice if they were able to have Blade in it to kind of put a wrinkle into it.
Yeah,
just like the cartoon did.
But is he gonna drink plasma like in the cartoon and have suction cups on his hands?
I'm mad you mentioned that, but you're right.
And, like, if Marvel and Sony have re-upped their deal, which to me I think is the smartest idea that you could make, because right now you guys are just printing money. And if you take Spider-Man back, Sony's already shown the propensity to fuck Spider-Man up multiple times, but they haven't fucked him up with Marvel. Yeah. So to me, it's like, if you guys re-up this deal beyond No Way Home, now you can bring Venom and have him play with Marvel characters, which is cool. And then you can have Blade go into Morbius.
Mhm.
That to me sounds like the smartest deal that you could make. But I also think because Venom 1 and 2 were successful, and because the Spider-Man movies have been successful, I get the impression that like Sony thinks that they're hot shit, but they don't understand that they're just standing next to the prettiest girl in school, you know. And
Yeah.
there's a chance that they might say, okay, we're ready to have him back because now we know what to do. And then you take him away from like being an Avenger and being with Reed Richards and being with this and being with that.
Especially with the Fantastic Four coming up, it's like, how do you not have Spider-Man with the Fantastic Four, even if it's just for a moment? Like,
Dude, I'm mad we're not going to get Tony Stark and Reed Richards together. You know, like
yeah,
that bums me out. But like what I'm saying is like I understand how these movies can connect now that you have like Toby and Andrew coming back supposedly. You got Doc Ock, yada yada yada. But because like in the Back to the Eternals, like correct me if I'm wrong, but when he explains how the universe like works and how this birth is a new one, I was like, oh, okay, that's the multiverse.
yeah, like Celestials in and of itself, the concept of them is like really out there to where that is a possibility of so many other universes that they are like a part of and stuff. So I mean that, and I think even in the comics they implied like there's like a shit ton of Celestials because this isn't the first time this is a thing. Which, in and of itself, I enjoyed the fact that like we know Galactus is not the size of a Celestial, but he's still big regardless, right?
He fucking should be. He fucking should be. How you gonna eat a planet if you're not that big?
Yeah, yeah.
Just make him big. You made him a fucking cloud. Why can't you just make him big?
Yeah, I don't need him to be a cloud. But then again, I forget that Galactus can change his size to whatever fits the situation too. So there's that. But yeah, like the Celestials themselves, I'm glad they nailed the spectral. I mean, because the last time we saw Celestial prior to this movie was that little short scene in Guardians of the Galaxy when he was talking about like, you know, the stones and stuff. But to see an actual Celestial, like that scene at the end of the movie where old boy popped up in the sky and took Cersei, I was like, that was actually pretty fucking creepy. Like a giant ass fucking head poking in the clouds and just snatches people, and everybody's like, the fuck was that? Or now we have in Indian Ocean, there's a stone fucking Celestial that partially popped up out of the world.
Well,
Like
at first when she froze, I forgot his name, the Celestial. And you see him, I was like, damn, he's not that fucking big. But then when they zoom out, I was like, oh, that's his knuckle. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, Arsham. Yeah, Arsham, and I think the Celestial that they didn't, I'm not gonna say kill, but it was
That's sort of a key tandem or some shit like that.
something like that.
But so, like Arsham, they tell you he's gigantic because when he stands next to the Earth, it's almost like he's holding a basketball, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but when they freeze the Celestial in water, at first I'm like, damn, he's not that big. Like maybe he's a baby. But then they zoom out and you get a full scope of how big he is. But it still doesn't make sense. Like, okay, if Arsham is that big, how does a Celestial come out of the Earth unless they grow?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It grows out of it, and that's how basically the world explodes because of that Celestial busting out and growing and stuff. Basically, that's what it
all
seems
this
like.
made me do. I was just like, okay, yeah. Let's get through all this bullshit. Give me Galactus.
Yeah, I think hey, look, I had a coworker that asked me some questions about that, and he's like, "So, is Galactus a Celestial?" No, but he is about the size of a Celestial, more or less. So, yeah, he's like you, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm ready for that," and I was like, "Yeah, it's coming."
It's like Captain Marvel. Like Captain Marvel was okay, but I was more excited about what it set up in the future.
Kree Scrolls. I was
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Give me more Kree. Give me. That's all I want. I mean,
seeing the Scrolls was like, oh shit, I'm ready for like the full Secret Invasion. I have to do the show and everything, but like, give me this, give me that. I felt the same way about the Eternals. Like, yeah, it's all right. Like, will I go watch it again in theaters? No. But
it'll look good on TV, on home video, though. I will say that.
Yeah, like it looked good, and I'm sure it'll look great, especially when they have that IMAX enhanced view thing on Disney Plus now.
I need to take advantage of that.
It's awesome. I just watched part of Shang-Chi today. It was awesome. But
hold up, time out. Is it like automatically it goes into IMAX, yes, or you got to switch it?
Yeah, it's automatic. I got it playing in the background right now.
Oh, okay.
Between whatever scenes and whatever.
Oh, okay.
But like for me, honestly, like I like Kingo, but then he kind of bitched out at the end, and I thought he was going to come back and make some triumphant return to like stop Icarus, but then no, he just took off.
Just chilled, like, nah, man, this is too much.
And that to me was like, damn, you know, like you
Yeah.
left your friends, man. Like, shit, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but hey, Sprite's a real girl now, so
I
we'll
don't
see
give
what
a
happens
fuck
with her.
about
That's why I was like, I don't know if we're
think-
gonna revisit her.
I don't think anyone was too broken up about her becoming human.
Yeah, I mean, it
Icarus
was
flew into the sun. I get it. It's
Killed
poetic,
himself.
but he's not. Come on, he's not dead.
yeah.
But
I mean,
like,
yeah.
do I need to see Sprite again? No, I'm good.
I
Like,
mean, if they give us an older Sprite that actually has some more character to her, I'm fine with that. You know, at the very least, that would be interesting. But other than that, like you said, it's kind of like, oh, what are you gonna do with Sprite? You gonna put her on like the Excalibur crew or some shit? I don't know.
I just didn't. I don't know about you guys, but for me, like, I didn't find. Like, I liked certain characters, right? You know, Kingo, Fastos, Makari. I kind of like Cersei, you know,
Yeah,
but none of them to me were very interesting.
yeah. I think that's the down. Like I said, that's the downside. It's like you're only gonna get half the characters you're gonna like, and there's at some point something's gonna drop. It's like Ajax. I wish we got more of her, but we
Right.
know she's the patriarch of the Eternals. But like, I wanted to see a little bit more.
And she signed for 3 movies.
Clearly, I guess the Celestials gonna remake Ajax again.
Fuck, I do whatever you got to do because put Salma Hayek in that movie, and I'm in.
I mean, hey, look, I think somebody was like, they went back and watched From Dusk Till Dawn just to see Selma Hayek again. I'm like, I don't blame you, man, because she looks more or less the same. I mean, granted, Dusk Till Dawn, she's very young, clearly.
Mhm.
Listen, do yourself a favor and just go watch Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Yeah, she was actually pretty good in that. She was actually really good in that movie.
I hadn't seen it.
She was.
Oh, you'll love it.
Yeah, she was hilarious, and oh god,
Morgan Freeman was fucking
just
hilarious.
just looked. No, she was hilarious, and she just looked too damn good in that movie.
I think everybody was genuinely surprised. Like, damn, what the fuck? Where has she been at? Like, all right.
It's like, what the heck? Like, what have you been drinking?
Hey, to be honest with you, I think that's why Marvel got Gemma Chan, because it was like Gemma Chan looks really good. We really kind of fucked up putting her under makeup. How about we don't do that anymore?
Mhm.
I mean, dude, she's, you know, I mean, Sprite, we don't count because she's like a child, but like the women in this movie, Kari, Athena, Ajax, and Cersei, they're all attractive women. You
Yeah.
know, they're all attractive women. It just blows me away, like the difference in age and how, like, you know, I mean, Salma Hayek was the leader of the group. I think she did a good job in that role. Like, I didn't buy that she was incapable of the role. She just kind of played like the mother,
Yeah.
you know. And Cersei did a serviceable job, like kind of taking that role. And Athena was just kind of like, I'm here to fight. I don't have an interest in leading.
Mhm.
And Makari, I mean, like her, I actually bought the chemistry between her and Druid.
Bro, they had more chemistry. That's the
Yeah.
crazy part about it. It's like, I didn't see. And the thing of it is, I felt bad I didn't see that coming between the dynamics between those two, even after that one scene in the beginning where she was telling them, hey, Ajax told you not to control people and stuff. And it's like, how did I not catch they had a connection even then? So that when you see them kind of embrace, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. Why the hell did I not see that?
I felt like they put the spotlight on the wrong relationship, but they put it on that relationship because that was the relationship that like fueled the story. But
Yeah.
that was also the most like unbelievable relationship out of the 3. You know, Athena and Gilgamesh, I thought was really good, and then
Yeah.
Druid and Makari, I thought was really good. Cersei and Icarus, I just didn't buy. I didn't like her in the Black Knight. I buy.
Yeah.
And when you know, after Icarus dies or whatever the fuck he does, and then you know he's telling her in the park, you know, I got something to like, I bought that shit. I totally bought that. Dude, is Kit Harington like 5'4"?
I think Kit Harington is like, shit, I think he might be a little bit taller than that. I thought he was like Hold on, let me see. Let me see.
When he was sitting in excerpt, I was like, God damn, that dude is short.
He 5'8".
And Gemma Chan's got to be 5'11".
Gemma Chan is. Oh, it's not showing it.
I mean, listen, good for him. But I thought his relationship with her infinitely more. And I
she's 5'8". She's 5'8" too.
Okay, but he's not 5'8". He's like Hollywood 5'8". He's like Tom Cruise 5'8".
No, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise a whole ass lie. That nigga like 5'6". If we were talking about
Stallone too. Yeah, I mean, to me, like it was just okay. It was, but you know what? I thought was interesting was, to me, this was kind of like a soft test to see how an ensemble would work for X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, after that X-Men 97 announcement and all that stuff, it seems like we're starting to get a little bit of a ramp up of the X-Men in some way. I'm like, all right, you know, the best thing about this movie, low key, that people haven't really been talking about. I like how Fausto's husband was pretty much just like, oh, you're an Eternal. Hey, go save the world,
dump
man.
Trash. He's like, dump trash.
Dump trash. Just
dump trash and then go save the world.
No, I just like how they didn't even sit there and be surprised. Like, and I guess somebody answered me and was like, I think it's just because after the snapping, we see all these superheroes. People are just, it's a norm now. So it's like, oh, you're a superhero. All right.
Not
cool.
but not only his husband, his son.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's cool. That's dope. And even Dane is just like, so can you transform me into a rabbit? Not even freaked out, just like, can you transform me? What can you do?
I did like that we got two DC comic name drops, Batman and Superman.
Look,
Batman and Superman name drop in the MCU movie. I'm like,
hey, Marvel, don't take away the fun time. Are we getting Marvel versus DC? Is this what this is?
That's what I was getting at. I was like, I'm like, Marvel, seriously, don't do this.
Are y'all talking about DC behind the scenes to make that happen?
Like, don't tell. I said, like, hey, Marvel, Disney, don't tell me all of y'all decided to kiss and make up with Warner Brothers.
I think in our lifetime, I think it'll happen because there's only so many stories that you can tell that are so repetitive. Yeah. Even if it's a different character, where you're like, all right, you know what? Like, we've seen this with Spider-Man or whatever, to where there is nothing bigger in comic. Like right now, Marvel can have massive events within the Marvel universe. DC can still have massive events within DC, and they don't need to fuck around, you know?
Yeah.
But eventually, whether it's 10 years or 20 years or whatever, they're going to have to be like, you know what? The only way that we can do this is just fucking crossover.
I mean, you're right. Look how long it took before we finally saw Batman versus Superman. That was like, what, 20, 30 years in the making?
That was definitely over 20 years waiting for that to happen.
That was 20 years in the making.
Matter of fact, our first, I think the first glimpse that we ever got of Batman and Superman coming together was I Am Legend. And that was 2007.
Yeah. So it's like, I think that is going to happen. It's just going to come down to, is it going to be like the comics where it's like, all right, we can't show weakness on either side, so we got to split the middle on this.
And speaking of like two people kissing and making up, let's talk about MCU's very first highly edited sex scene.
I saw a thrust. That's about it.
We just saw a simple thrust, a subtle thrust,
dude.
I don't blame, and that's the editing was just like,
I pointed that out. I was like, yo, Chris, this is some hard ass editing.
I don't blame Disney for this. I don't even blame Marvel Studios for this. I'm kind of tired of people writing articles for this like it's a big deal. I'm like, guys, sex scenes have been in movies. I get it. It's your first time seeing it in a superhero movie, even though it's not the first time we've seen this. But like, guys, it's not worth the article to like. I mean,
listen.
Iron Man literally had sex with a chicken. Iron Man 1.
No, Chris, stop it. First of all, that was not a sex scene in Iron Man 1. That was goofy ass fooling around. Okay,
which is normal.
It's literally them making out wildly on a bed and rolling over and falling over on the other side, and we completely cut out until the next morning. No. What this movie tried to give us was, okay, we're going to give you the soft version of the sex scene from Watchmen.
There's a deleted scene errors where that's like a 3-minute scene. You know
Oh,
that,
I
right?
know. Oh,
And it's
I
still
know.
fucking unbelievable.
It's really
Not chemistry at all.
Like, so let me get this right. We had a 3-minute sex scene that was, it went from a 5 to a 6, but you know,
I'm just saying.
Well, it's
the
like
one
when
that
you get two really good people, good looking people together, and they got that basic ass vanilla sex. You know what I mean?
and
Where you're
like in your
you
head,
two-
your head pictures them being wild and sexy, and then it's like, oh, it didn't really turn out like I
I was
thought
like,
it
well,
was.
this was like, well, damn, this was mid as fuck.
Yeah. Whereas like you get two ugly ass people together and they got no restrictions.
Like, bro, like even in Creed, Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson had like a better chemistry and sex scene, and they didn't even show them thrusting in that movie. And it's like, yeah, it's implied sex, but all right, cool. This was just like, I guess for the kids, sure. The kids
Well, like
aren't stupid
you had the
guys.
first openly gay superhero, you had the first openly gay relationship, and people made a bigger deal out of that, but that was believable.
It was
You know
the
what I
normal
mean?
ass thing. They weren't
They
trying to
didn't,
make it
yeah, I
anything
mean, they
different.
weren't like grabbing each other's dicks. It was just like, go save the world. You know, he's my son. It was like, they were just normal ass people, two dudes with a kid. It was like, okay, I believe it. That's his husband. That's his kid. That's their house. Like, cool. And then, you know, I mean, that's been blown up. Oh my God. They're banned in China and shit like that. But then it's like, you got this bullshit ass sex scene.
I want
Where-
a Vicarian druid to have a sex
Dude.
scene at this point.
That sex scene, that was like me when I was like 15. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Richard
I didn't
Madden's
need
a
that picture
handsome
there, Joe.
dude, but I leaned
need
over
that.
to my girlfriend and I'm like, I can do better than that.
I didn't need that visual picture, Joe, and I
You're
wasn't
welcome.
even trying to think about it. I really did. It's like,
Like, no, I'm saying, because I'm watching it and I'm like, all right, you know, he can fly, she's got powers, like work that into the conversation here, you know, and pick her up and, you know, fly her over the moon or some shit like that. And they're both really good looking people. So you're like, this is going to be passionate and this and this and that. And it's just like, ugh, you know. And I swear to God, dude, I lean over to my girlfriend because she's Asian too. And I'm like, ours looks better.
so
Like,
much better.
Yeah. Like,
first of all, that was. I laughed because you just said, like a simple.
It really was. I ain't gonna lie. The
that's
way
what it
that
was.
the hard edit did feel was like, Oh,
No,
wait,
because
wow.
I pointed it out. Like I was the one to point it out. I was like, Chris, there's way too much cutting going on in
Yeah,
this
because I was
sex
like,
scene.
it felt like the transition from them embracing, which I'm like, all right, I see this happening, and it just cut straight to sex, and I'm like, there's something missing from that transition of that to sex. This is like, what happened in
So-
between?
So Marvel, Disney, am I gonna have to wait 5-6 years for the Snyder cut version of that
No,
sex scene?
sir, we call it the Zhao cut.
The Zhao cut of that sex scene.
Do you guys think that she'll be brought back to do something else?
They already brought her back for Star Wars.
Well, I mean, like a Marvel movie.
I mean, they brought back. I think they brought back some of the writers for. Well, no, they brought back. I mean, I think with Peyton Reed is going to be has done all 3 Ant-Mans.
Right.
I think. Well, they shifted the directors from Captain Marvel to Nia DaCosta.
John Watts he did all 3 Spider-Mans. Like he's doing Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Malcolm Lee, who did the black dude that did Falcon Winter Soldier, he's actually going to be directing the movie. So
That works.
Good. Yeah, so I think I'd be stupid of them not to bring her back in some sort of capacity. To be honest with you, now I don't know whether
bring her
that.
back for Eternals if they do.
That's
a
the thing. Is it
sequel?
going? Yeah, is it going to be an Eternal? That's the thing too. Is it going to be an Eternals movie, or is it going to be positioned as something else? And like, how do you maneuver through it and stuff? So that is indeed the big toss up of all this and stuff. Because like I said, when you had that post credits ending with Star Fox, and I'm like, so is Eternals 2 is just going to be those 4, and what happened? Like, you know, and how does that tie into Guardians of the Galaxy? Because we saw Eternal Head in Guardians of the Galaxy and nowhere. So how does this all? It's a lot of questions that I'm curious, but like it leaves, like you said, the toss up earlier on. Like, where do we go from here with Eternals? Like,
Because like my thing is like based on this movie, again, I'm infinitely more interested in what it sets up. I'm interested in these characters interacting with other characters. I'm not necessarily interested in them being together again.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I'm
so,
interested in Kingo playing off, some of the funnier roles, even though like his powers were cool. He's kind of like, a Tony Stark-ish in that he's like a rich guy and yada yada yada. So like I'd be interested in seeing him play off other characters,
so
Athena,
yeah,
Gamora or something like that. But
yeah,
like I don't necessarily need to see this cast together again
yeah.
because some of them were really good and some of them just fell flat for me.
Yeah.
And my concern was like when we left the theater, my friend was like, well, like again, like John Watts is being brought back to do Fantastic Four. I'm like, that's great. He's got that kind of sensible, funny, but he can do action. He can do heartfelt. I'm cool with that. I wish Brad Bird would have done it. But
Man, look, everybody been asking Brad Bird ever since Incredibles 1, like, can you get this happening?
but
Please?
my friend was like, what if they brought her back because she did an ensemble? What if they brought her back for X-Men? I'm like, man. I feel like she's a filmmaker. You know what I mean?
She can nail the dramatic aspect of the X-Men from like the mutant drama thing. So that would be nice because she can nail
I don't think the action was very good, man.
It was, put it this way, it was serviceable, but it definitely could have been at least a little bit like I said, I like the finale with Fastos, Stina, and Makari versus Icarus. I think that was probably the best fight. The other ones were like, it's all right, but
I got a question for you about Fastos. Number one, him figuring out over time his ability to, I guess, push
influence humans,
push the influence on technology, and seeing what comes from it was pretty damning to him by the time it got to Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima. So then then I thought about something else. Seeing how he pushed the technology and had the ability to influence humans, do all that stuff. I looked at his powers at the end of, I guess with his fight with Icarus, and I don't know, did you notice the same thing I noticed, CJ? Like when you saw like his powers put together, didn't you get 10 Rings vibes?
Yep. That's what I was actually going to go into, because I remember when Shang-Chi came out and we saw the 10 Rings, they never really explained where the rings come from. They just said, oh boy, found them, and then there. And I was sitting up there thinking,
and then
did Fastos make those? And
that's what I'm saying. In the post credit scene, they said, look, we checked everywhere. There is like no record of this type of material made. This is probably older than vibranium, like, because it's clearly not vibranium.
There's a beacon inside of it.
And there's a beacon inside of it. So that made me think, did this come from the Eternals?
It's a good way to, because I thought the same thing, especially when he gave them all bracelets. I'm like, that's 10 rings.
Yep, right there. But
it's a good way to retroactively involve the Eternals, because I think that while they couldn't get involved in the Infinity Saga, I feel like as these movies go on, we're gonna find out that they were involved indirectly. Whether it was like Druig, remember that guy that did that? Yeah, that was me. You know what I mean? Or Fastos creating the 10 rings or whatever. I mean, because like with Shang-Chi, like that movie was surprisingly good. And I'm glad they went the direction of the rings being like bracelets versus rings, because it allowed for kind of a different use of them than I expected, but I thought it worked for the movie really well. But in a sequel, you're gonna have to kind of up the ante. You can't give it the same fucking rings, because now it's like, all right, so what? But if you have them linked to Fastos, maybe he can help Shang-Chi unlock, you know what I mean? Like he could help further that kind of a thing.
Yep.
But I think like you're gonna, as the movies progress, you're gonna find they're going to find ways to make the Eternals play into the bigger story retroactively, which I kind of expect them to do eventually with like the X-Men or whatever. It's like you're going to have to find a way that these characters existed. But here's my question for you guys. If Fastos' husband and son, and kind of the public at large, didn't really react to any of this shit. You know, versus like, let's say the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Now that we're post snap and like the world knows that like Thanos was a thing, people with superheroes are a thing, and it's kind of like whatever. Where are you going to find the outrage for mutants?
That is, I think that's what's kind of like. I think that's where the debacle is. It's like with mutants.
I think
it's
I
like,
know.
What?
I think I know what's going to happen. They're going to take the same. More than likely, they're going to take the same type of route or similar route that they did in the '90s X-Men cartoon, where you're going to get people that clearly don't accept them. I mean, look what happened with all the damage that was caused by whether it was aliens or whatever, and the Avengers come in and cause even more damage. They saved the day, but at the same time, look how we got Zemo. It's like, yeah, my family got massacred in the middle of y'all's war, and the Avengers, they just went home.
Yeah. I think
you're gonna get some people that are gonna resent mutants just because they're gonna be reminded. I mean, hell, you can have a character that's gonna pop up like that was weird. Anyway,
yeah, no, that was weird.
You're gonna have a character that's gonna pop up that's gonna give somebody Vietnam flashbacks, and they're gonna be like, "No, I fucking hate these guys. I hate these mutants. I hate all these superheroes.
Mutant scum.
The mutant scum." It's gonna turn into the '90s X-Men cartoon, and that's how I'm seeing it. Unless Marvel and Disney decide to come up with a whole nother route.
But it's also like, how do you go about introducing them in a way that doesn't because like you Joe said, it's like you can't pull an Eternals where the mutants just hung back and didn't do shit. Like you have to.
No, they're gonna get introduced, and it's gonna set off a chain. Like I believe it's gonna set off a chain
More
reaction.
mutants.
Yeah, more mutants are gonna pop up. Things, and how people are gonna react to it. They might not necessarily react to them the same way that they reacted to the Avengers.
Yeah. So I think that's what's going to end up happening and stuff. I think right now we're still all kind of caught up in like, how's this going to happen? And I think I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride. Fuck it. Just see what happens. Because at this point, trying to figure out where the X-Men can interject in all this is like, it's impossible. Like I saw somebody theorize that like when we saw Iron Man and Homecoming, what's his face might have been there. Fucking Kingo might have been there at that Bollywood party or whatever and stuff that Tony Stark was in, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe
that's possible.
I'm still very curious to see how, if you're doing the X-Men, if you make Magneto a World War II Holocaust survivor, you're going to have to set this either in an alternate universe or say mutations slow down aging.
Well, I thought that was always the thing in the comics where mutation did kind of slow down aging to a degree. That's what I always assumed.
But he was appropriately aged for that time.
Yeah.
Because like in the comics, let's say he was 12 at Auschwitz or something like that. Okay. At the time, Auschwitz was, 40 years later. So he's now in his late 50s, early 60s or whatever. And as much as I didn't like Ian McKellen, I like him. I didn't really care for him as Magneto because I didn't like old man Magneto. He was appropriately aged.
You like Silver Fox Magneto in the
cartoon.
In the cartoon.
Honestly, man, like I'm kind of on the side of, at this point, like, make him black.
Hey,
because then you can have him have gone through like the civil rights movement and like a lot of shit in modern times.
Yeah,
and I'm not mad at that at all, Joe.
I think we talked about this at length. Marvel has modernized a lot of stuff. Like Tony Stark, he's not in Vietnam; he's actually in Afghanistan. The war on terror is the thing at that time, which kind of reflects. I think Matt Fraction did that in the comics. He kind of revised the origin and made him part of like the Iraq War kind of thing, and that's how Tony Stark.
Well, it wasn't a radioactive spider; it was a genetically altered spider. Like you have to update these things,
which is Ultimate Comics and stuff. Which I think that's probably pretty good instead of just random spider, bam, bit, done. And I'm like,
It's like
where did
random
the spider come from?
like random spider gets in the middle of freaking like an energy energy ray,
Beam.
and like boom, get bit by it, and suddenly you got powers. A radioactive spider gives you powers.
Yeah,
But I mean, like, I'm not normally a fan of just making someone a different race just to do it, because I feel like that's not, you're not including, that's an inclusion, that's pandering.
like if you do it, it has to make sense.
Right, like Nick Fury, right? They made him black. Okay, but why? Because Sam Jackson was drawn that way, and there was nothing specifically about Nick Fury, but like Sam Jackson has made that. He is Nick Fury now. He's no longer white. Yeah,
I mean, you also had Nick Fury in Ultimate Avengers, and that Nick Fury was black too.
Yeah,
yeah, that's what he was going at.
That's what based it off of. But like with Magneto, if they just said, let's say this was the 90s, he could have been a Holocaust survivor. Okay, fine. Because the age matches up.
Yeah.
Now, the dude would he'd be almost be 100. And if you're going to tell me that mutants, it slows down aging, okay, well then, so now every old mutant is 150 years old. Like Wolverine, yeah, because he's a healing factor. But then that also takes that away from Wolverine.
Yeah, I think Ultimate Comics X-Men, this is the one that Magneto wasn't a Holocaust survivor, and this is the one where I'm hoping the MCU doesn't like use the baseline thing for how mutants came, because Magneto, his parents were in the Weapon X facility where they made mutants from test tubes, and Wolverine ended up killing his parents in the facility when he escaped, because Wolverine technically was the first mutant in the Ultimate Comics. And that's how mutants were born, was from them toying around with his DNA, and then boom, that's how we got mutants and stuff. So he's not a Holocaust survivor in this, but I'm just sitting back, and he's Canadian too, so there's that.
Lencher.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, so he's Canadian and he's not a Holocaust survivor, but yet, because of like the mutants starting to pop up in the Ultimate Comics, he still has that thing with Magneto where he feels like humanity is at their end because mutants are the homo superior, and all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, they got that aspect of him, but he doesn't have the Holocaust thing, which is like, all right, I mean, sure. So it's like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but there's that. I guarantee you there's going to be something updated. And if they do it, they have to do it in a way that, at the very least, if somebody has a problem, it's a vocal minority, and it's not just "fuck this, man. Why did you do?" that kind of shit.
Man, who I want to play. I want to play Magneto. We've had this conversation for
Denzel.
Yep.
Denzel. Look, Disney gonna have to throw a lot of money for Denzel to even.
They got that money,
but he has to commit to it too. That's a multi-movie commitment, and I don't think Denzel wants to commit. I mean, some actors don't mind it because, like, hey, easy paycheck.
Or Giancarlo Esposito.
Well, I mean, Disney does have him on tap for Mandalorian, so I would not be surprised if they're like.
I would love to see freaking Giancarlo Esposito as Magneto.
Doom.
It'd be an old boy from fucking Breaking Bad. That's fucking
what, Gustavo Fring.
Yeah, that's him as Magneto right there. Just very stoic and just like chill.
And using the power of magnetism.
Like just very like he's threatening. Hey, look, I can see it.
That man could use the power of magnetism and make a killer paella.
I hate you.
Well, I want to see both of them, or have DC or whatever like that. But like I read a thing with Tom Hanks where he's like, I've never been asked to be in those movies, but all I got to do is call. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
If you had told me Tom Hanks, if he was in a Marvel, I'm trying to think of somebody that's very likable in Marvel that he could do very well. I don't really know.
Anybody. Or he'll just
I don't really know.
Likable.
I mean, he has to play somebody because it's like.
Could you imagine Tom Hanks as Beast?
Yes.
See, here's the thing, man. After we saw Kelsey Grammer as Beast, it's kind of hard for me to see anybody that can it's really tough, man.
Not hard for me.
listen, Chris. The days that day, like the Fox days of
I didn't even like
X-Men.
the other dude that was Beast, even though I didn't.
Yeah,
I thought he was
I know, but I'm
overrated.
saying,
Kelsey
but
Grammer
Chris,
was like,
but
it.
Chris,
That's the bar.
but Chris, I'm just saying the days of Fox's X-Men movies are done. You know, the way Marvel and Disney are trying to do it now is, hey, get all those movies out of your mind. If we ever do it, like, listen, like when we do these movies, we might do a slight jab at them just to say, hey, we're gonna poke fun at these old movies. Like at least one movie, at least one is gonna be one jab per movie of like X-Men, Fantastic Four, yada yada yada. They're gonna poke fun at the old movies in some way.
I need.
Well,
I'm calling it. I'm calling it
I
right
need
now.
Tom Hanks. If I need Tom Hanks to be anybody, I'm gonna turn him evil and make him Graydon Creed, leader of the Friends of Humanity. Fuck it, just go evil. Might as well, because I don't know Tom Hanks has ever played like a bad guy other than
that's
like
the
the
point.
Lady Killers.
Yeah,
That's the last time I seen him play a bad guy, and that was it. So it's like, yeah, I could see him be like Graydon Creed, you know, that kind of character. And
I'm
like, yeah, I
going
can
to
see
throw
that.
out 4 names for you of actors I've always wanted to see in either the MCU or DC universe: Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington, Giancarlo Esposito, and Bryan Cranston. And I'm
Yeah,
going
Cranston,
to throw out names
I want Bryan Cranston
just to
Dude,
see if they would stick. Sinister,
Mm,
Apocalypse,
Mm-hmm.
Magneto, or Doom.
See, Juan Carlo, I can see as Doom and Magneto.
Dude, I can see Bryan Cranston as Mr. Sinister.
That's tough because Sinister is a little bit of fun, especially what Hickman is doing with them in the comics. That could work.
No, you know what character I could see Cranston being? This would be for the Spider-Man universe, but
Don't say Kingpin, man. Because
no. Someone close to Kingpin though. No. So actually, then again, no, he was in the cartoon.
Alistair
Trask.
Smythe. Oh, yeah.
I can see him being Trask, or I can see him being Gyrick.
Tom Hanks.
But I want. See, for me, like we never got Mr. Sinister, right?
We never did.
And I'm ready, like you said, for Disney to wipe those Fox movies because those movies fucking suck.
You know what? Bryan Cranston will work as Sinister. You just make him like Heisenberg Sinister, where he's just about his shit.
But he can play different. I mean, he played likable characters. He played father figures. He played, Walter White. He played fucking dude on Malcolm in the Middle. You could find that medium with Sinister. I don't think dude, for me, like fan casting, I always wanted him as Man at Arms in like the He-Man movie.
Hey, there's still time if they do live action. Like, yo, get Bryan Cranston, please.
But I mean, like, I'm excited for what the Eternals sets up because I feel like not only have you done Ensemble now, but like you've touched the multiverse. It's gonna tie into Galactus at some point. It has to. I mean, how the fuck else do you introduce that guy?
I got another character for you, Joe. That Cranston could be, and God, this would be really messed up because he's gonna get killed if he plays this character. The scientist that put the Weapon X program together.
Oh, that dude. Yeah.
He already had the bald. Like, let him be bald. Just let him come in as bald Walter White.
Like, if you make him be the head of Weapon X and make that consistent thing and not just one off, that could work.
I mean, just slice off his arm. Let him come back with the with the robotic arm, and he can still live.
It's a lot of bad. It's a X-Men. People forget X-Men got like a rogues gallery of people, like villains that they could use, and it's a lot. So it's the fact that they got Patton Oswalt as Pip the Troll, that was funny.
You know who I could see, and you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, like a Tom Hanks being, because I'm sure it'll be a fun movie, like a Mole Man.
Bruh, I can see that.
You know what I mean? Where he's not playing like super duper evil, I want to eat your children, but he's a bad guy, but it's fun.
Make it reoccurring. Don't even make it one off. Just
dude, in the 90s, I would have said that's your Reed Richards right there. But I mean, he's too old, and I don't.
Even though he does have the Silver Fox aspect, sideburns, but yeah,
and he's fucking likable, man. He's fucking likable.
I mean, if you told me somebody, I don't know if this was like in the 80s or something. They said Tom Hanks could be Captain America, and I was like, he is very likable. I can see that.
Yeah, maybe like in the early 90s.
Yeah.
I was thinking, Joe. God, there's so many other characters, like you said. So many characters that could play, or that these actors could play. God, I just had a character on my mind. Oh, fuck, what's his name?
Or he could be like a puppet master.
No, not just that. I really, actually, no, sorry. No, what I like my my train of thought was different. Where I was going was, what I would like the MCU to do is to pick back up on the ideas that they dropped on us and then just instantly forgot about.
Which
Like
is
a good example from Incredible Hulk, my man getting Hulk's blood dropped into his freaking head, and
this is She-Hulk. He might be popping up in that.
okay, if he pops up in that, cool. Then the other another character. So are we gonna know what's gonna happen to Mordo or what? Since he's been traveling the
Doctor
world.
Strange too.
Okay, I was gonna say he's been traveling the world, wrecking everybody.
Oh yeah, that's it. That whole thing of him gathering magic, that's playing a part in Doctor Strange too. So trust me, it's a lot of plot threads that they're finally like, hey, we really need to address this shit, because it's like as soon as they announced She-Hulk, it was like, yeah, we have to kind of address Blonsky and that whole thing that happened in Shang-Chi and what happened with him, and then also maybe Leader, or at least hint at Leader popping up and stuff, because it's like we can't just leave that hanging and stuff. So yeah, a lot of Disney Plus stuff is definitely going to kind of like pick up the slack on some of those plot points.
Okay.
Which I'm glad they're doing, honestly. So, but like I said, you know what? Lastly, though, before we go, do y'all think Eternals would have worked as like a 10-episode Disney Plus show?
Yes.
Yes, it would have worked better as a Disney Plus show, way more than a movie.
I agree with that.
Because it had the look of, if you made this 10 episodes, that would have fleshed out a lot of shit.
Like, drop the whole season. Don't even do episode by episode. Drop the whole season.
And I binge it.
Yeah, just drop the whole season and let everybody binge it and keep it moving.
But then you can let it breathe too, because like I like that with like Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Ironheart. They're like, look, we want to bring these characters in, but we don't need a fucking movie for everybody, right? We could spend $20 million, make a TV show, but these TV shows are, cinematic quality.
Yeah. And if we do a movie, we already established them in the show, so we don't have to do all the legwork of a movie. So we just throw them in there and then get all the other stuff out the way.
But I mean, like Eternals to me was like, this doesn't need to be a movie. This could have been an 8-episode, 45-minute show with the same production value.
Yeah, the production values of the HBO of like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones has like a movie budget attached to it, so it's not like Disney would have tripped if they had to actually do like an Eternals TV show.
Right, and I mean, to me, I think it would have worked better as a show, and you could have let these characters breathe. Each episode could have focused on one of them or shown you where they've been for the last 5,000 years or whatever. And I feel like as long as this movie was, they were very quick to attach to some characters and very quick to usher out other characters once they served their purpose.
Yeah,
and they killed off 2 of what I think are the best characters, and then they gave screen time to 2 characters that I didn't give a fuck about.
Yep.
And to me, this movie is like, all right, it's done. Like, you did it. If you do a sequel, I'd rather just do a show. Like, fuck, dude, do a Kingo show. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, he's in Bollywood.
I think that's Marvel's way of saying, hey, we did Eternals. We threw our dicks on the table and did it. I'm like, that's cool, Marvel. Just build off of, like, I think even Era said it best. It's like, don't run away from it because of how people are reacting to it. Just take what you did and just improve on it. That's all you got to do. Because I mean,
Exactly.
That's
all I'm asking.
It's not. It's not. I would put this above Iron Man 3.
I mean, it's not hard, Joe. I like Iron Man 3, but you're right,
Joe. That is not a high bar to get over.
No, you're right. But like I didn't like Guardians 2. I put this slightly under Guardians 2 only because I think the characters in the Guardians are just infinitely more likable.
I think that was more. What's funny? Guardians 2 was what Eternals was doing, which was more character work. And I will say, Guardians 2 did a little bit of a better job on that.
Guardians, yeah, but they fucked up Drax, dude. They have fucked that character up. Like, the Destroyer doesn't get a single fucking like action scene.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm playing the Guardians game. He's kind of sort of the same way, but he has more to do.
But
So,
his
yeah.
like that voice didn't go with that character. But like in the movie, like in
Yeah,
the
you're right.
movies, like he's kind of a buffoon, you know.
Yeah,
and like I
definitely.
like Batista, and I think Batista's proven to be like a decent actor, especially in this role. Give him something to do. Like he's even saying like, I just want out because you guys are gonna fuck this
Can I be
character
real?
up.
He got
So-
more to do in Guardians than Dune, which sucks because I was thinking he was going to be doing more in Dune, and I'm like, he
I
didn't
haven't seen
do
Dune.
shit, dude. Because he was in Dune, visually he looked dope, but I'm like, he didn't really do much in Dune. I'm like, but I thought he was going to do a lot. There's no acting or nothing. I'm like, I'm confused. Like,
haven't
Wasn't
seen
really-
that.
wasn't
That's
much
one of
to
those.
do.
That's one of those movies that I think I might catch like eventually.
don't rush. I mean, it's not a bad movie, but it's kind of like Eternals, where your mileage is going to vary on what you get out of it. And I'm glad it's
Mhm.
getting a sequel, honestly, because that's a series that every time they try to do a movie or something, it never gets a sequel to follow up with it. So I'm happy that the director's like, oh, we're greenlit for a sequel. All right, cool, dope. And I'm glad they're able to continue it finally, because yeah, people were really getting kind of fed up with everything and stuff. But
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm excited for what it sets up. It's not the worst movie I've seen. It's not even the worst Marvel movie. It's just not, it wasn't.
very down the middle.
It didn't blow me away, but I think they're laying the groundwork for something bigger. So, by that logic, I'm happy that the movie exists, and I'm happy that these characters exist, because now I'm excited to see them act within the the larger MCU. Like you can keep Icarus gone. Like you can keep Icarus gone. You can keep Sprite gone. The rest of them, I'm into it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that is it. I might go back and revisit Shang-Chi and bring everybody back for that, because I've been kind of slacking on a lot of this shit, to be honest. Big time.
Watching it again,
Hey, I'm watching Shang-Chi again. That's definitely, I'm kind of
and I want in for Ghostbusters.
Yeah, you know what? That's the one that the jury is out on. Me, D, and Sue have been kind of like, "What's this Ghostbusters movie going to look like?" Because I heard mixed reactions to this new movie, and I'm like, I don't know what to believe at this point.
Well, it's going to be Stranger Things. It's going to be Stranger Things with the actual Ghostbusters making a cameo.
Yeah, I just want to know how it's going to be. That's all I ask. I'm
But
like,
the
this
thing
film-
is, though, is like it can't be as bad as the 2016 one.
Nothing can be as bad
And-
as 2016.
and-
which sucks, because it's like it wasn't even the actress's fault; it was the director and writing.
Let me
But
tell you.
Harold
Let
Ramis
me
is
tell
gone.
you. Let me just tell you something, guys. To be worse than the 2016 movie takes actual effort.
Just don't give me ad libs. That's all I ask. No fucking ad libs.
But
We
the
don't
fact
need
that,
ad
like,
libs.
they're kind of passing the Ghostbusters on to these kids. Like Egon's gone. You can't. I don't want to see a movie where the old guys come back and they replace him. I don't want
This
to see
feels
that.
like extreme Ghostbusters, but like you say, with Stranger Things. So
I'm telling you, that's what it's going to be.
But that's
it's-
not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
not a bad- no,
it's not a bad thing at all. But I'm just saying. We're clearly going to get Stranger Things, Extreme Ghostbusters combo, and the original Ghostbusters coming together. We're going to see Winston. We're going to see Ray. We're going to see Peter. I really do believe
let's
that
be real.
Bill Murray finally said, "All right, fine, I'll do this one."
guys. But let's be real. What level of effort are we going to get out of Bill Murray this time
Hey,
around?
I
Are we
read
going to
an
get I don't
article-
give a fuck Bill
I read
Murray,
an
or are we going to
article
get I
with him.
care?
and I read an article with him from like I don't know a couple weeks ago, and they asked him like, you've always been so hesitant to revisit Peter Venkman. In the reboot, you played some like random fucking whack job, but like why the video game and why this? And he said they have something in common. They both had a good script. They both tied into the original, and they did something different where it wasn't just, oh fuck, we're 80 years old now coming back.
Yeah,
And he was like, I just didn't want. Bill Murray's basically like, I got all the fucking money in the world. I didn't want to come back just for a paycheck, just to like
yeah.
cash it. I wanted it to mean something. And the game to me, I mean, that game is 12 years old. That game was fucking cool.
That
Yeah,
game
wasn't that
is-
big-
that
what-
game like the game is like universally celebrated as like,
The
and
third
accepted as the third movie.
Yeah.
Wasn't that based off a script that
was
he had
was
already
pieces
written?
of
He
the
already wrote?
third
It was
movie.
pieces. It was pieces of the third movie.
Okay, I figured as much. That was
And-
him. I remember they said it was part of the script that he had that Peter,
But
but not Peter.
One of the
what's his face
reasons,
wrote.
like from my understanding, Bill Murray had he had a lot of issues with the second movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think we
Like-
all did.
No,
Yeah.
see, no, okay, look, screw all of you, all right? I like the second movie, okay?
It's fun, but it ain't beating the first. Don't get it
Like
twisted.
everyone, like, whatever. I mean, to me, it was on the track of giving us damn near a perfect trilogy if they had actually gone through and did the third movie,
Yeah.
and that third movie turned out to be good. People love the shit on the second movie, but I love it for what, like, I love the second movie as a
They ain't
Ghostbusters
shitting
movie.
on it as much as 2016.
No,
so
no,
it's
no,
not like
no,
it's
no. I know
bad.
that. I know that. See, for everyone who shits on the second movie, I believe you owe that second movie an apology. only thanks to 2016.
The second movie is fun, but I mean, it's not the first movie.
I
It's
know it's not the
even-
first movie, but hey, Joe, but do you want to know something interesting? No studio wanted to do the second movie. That was
Yeah, that is
like
wild.
that was the other issue. No
The
one
game
wanted
is
to
better
do
than the
it.
second movie.
Yeah,
And the other also there was another problem too. There were so many things in that second movie that they were supposed to do and they couldn't do it. I think the existence of the second movie is what made Bill Murray say he did not want to come back for another Ghostbusters movie.
It made most people not want to come back for
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
that's why I'm like with
I
Afterlife.
mean, when the studio didn't want to do it, I'm like, well, why did you do it?
But money. Come on now.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying with Ghostbusters Afterlife, I'm like, I'm just waiting because you know what it is. It's 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm hating the fact that I'm even recognizing Rotten Tomatoes, but like, I'm just sitting back. I'm like, maybe this will actually be pretty decent, and we're just freaking out for no fucking reason.
I'm telling y'all that it's going to be a decent movie. Everybody just needs to chill. It's not 1984, all right? Everybody needs to relax. Yes, we accept that the first movie is amazing and can never be beaten. We got that. Now let's move on to today, okay?
No, I'm into it, and I like that it's not in New York. Like the reboot was like, is this a sequel or a reboot? What are we doing here? And it was unclear, right?
It
didn't know what it wanted to be.
The 2016 was a disastrous hybrid.
Right.
Yeah.
But this one is
Either
saying,
two.
look, we recognize that Egon is gone and he left this to his grandkids. Okay, fine. It's not in New York anymore. It doesn't, ghosts exist outside of fucking New York.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of nodding to the first where it's like, look, all that shit happened. And Egon, he's got a daughter, he's got a granddaughter. It's got the original cast. Hopefully Winston actually has something to do. And you got Bill Murray back. Like, to me, dude, just hearing the fucking sound of that proton pack power up
The proton pack
gave me
and
chills. And the
the
Ecto One.
Yeah, the proton pack and the Ecto One. I was like, oh god, suddenly I'm 7 years old again.
Yeah,
Also,
and
that-
if it's
also-
a bunch of kids that are gonna wear that, like, because you can see the toys. I mean, they're wearing fucking gear.
Dude, the
I'm
toys in the
okay
stores.
with
I mean, look, they selling the toys in Target, and I was like, wow, we get proton packs. This is dope.
Dude, you walk in a fucking Target, it's Ghostbusters right next to He-Man. It
Yeah.
makes me happy.
Suddenly,
we're back in the 80s.
We're back in the 80s.
Dude, I'll be
It's like,
I'll be 40 years old in fucking 2 months, and I walk in there and I'm like, I want all this shit,
I
all
want
of it.
all of it. You know, the funny thing is because we're adults, we got money to buy it now.
Mhm.
oh, look, at some point, I'm buying a house, so that money, that extra money that I had, is going to be disappearing and gone. So it's like I can't get the toys anymore because I got a house.
I'll let you know how it is. I'll send you pictures.
Yeah, basically. Or it's like, look, I make pretty good money, but I know once I get a house, it's like, oh, I can't have all this extra money just to throw at fucking Gunpla and toys now. That's out the window.
Yep. Yep.
I start chasing deals.
Yep.
Yep.
Black
We're
Friday.
chasing down some deals.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you better hope that stuff is still available by Black Friday.
Also,
Mhm.
Black Friday, I'm looking at these 4K TVs. Like, I like my big TV, but them 4K TVs is looking pretty nice.
I just bought one on Amazon. That's your best deal. I bought an 80-inch TV on Amazon, and it was
Christ, that's big.
$1,800. but it's got all the
Jesus.
bells and whistles, dude. It's nice. It's fucking nice.
Hey, like Chris, you've been to my place. Like that 50-inch that I have in my side room,
Mhm.
$300 on Amazon, and it's the 8 series from Samsung.
Jesus. Yeah. I definitely
Do
need
it.
to do that. Mm,
I just
Just
bought the
get it.
Samsung too.
Like honestly,
Yeah.
get it and get it over with.
might as well. Look, no, dude. Why do you think some of this stuff that I'm getting now? I'm like, let me just get it now. That's why I was glad I got the PlayStation 5 because it's like, well, at least I got the PlayStation 5 now. I don't have to worry about later
Do
on. Like,
you
I
have
wish
the
I could get it.
PlayStation 5 on a 4K TV?
That's
He
why.
does not.
That is the next
Ah.
step.
I don't
As
want to say
someone
he's
who's
hustling.
made the transition, I
But I
welcome
will
you.
say this though. I do, even with my TV being non 4K, I still do see a difference in terms of the visual quality between some of the PlayStation 4 games and PlayStation 5.
Yeah, of course.
So there's that. But I know when I go 4K, I will definitely see like a jump.
But I got 3 letters for you. UHD.
Mhm.
All right.
Get it. Get on
Do
it.
it.
Please.
Do it. Let me know.
All right. But anyways, folks, that is it. And yeah, we'll be back. And also me and Joe will definitely be back for He-Man to tell people we told you so. So, there's that.
I can't wait.
I'm just saying, look, I saw that second trailer. I was like, yeah, me and Joe and Shaggy are gonna be gloating the whole fucking episode like we told you so.
Dude, I
guys.
sent out about 20 text messages to motherfuckers like, I told you.
fucking
I
told you.
Yeah. I
Also,
can't. So
also,
23rd?
Did your Target have any of the spoiler toys?
The spoiler toys?
Okay, so the Target near me actually had Savage He-Man. That's a
Oh,
spoiler
oh,
for the
oh,
second
oh, oh.
half. Yeah, that's a
No.
spoiler for the second half of it. And I was like, Savage He-Man. And then the following day, I saw the trailer. And I was like, holy shit! I just saw a spoiler toy on the shelf.
I didn't know that. The Target near me just got in the second wave of the Masterverse, like Man at Arms, Spike, Ortila, etc.
Oh wow!
And then the Walmart near me just got the second wave of the kids Netflix show, so like Evil In.
Yeah, some Targets they've been kind of like picky and choosy on the new stuff. Because when I
Well,
saw that, I was
Walmart
like,
gets them first, apparently.
okay,
I
because
don't know why.
I saw Savage He-Man. I was like, Savage He-Man, which show is this from? I was like, oh shit, He-Man Revelation. Damn,
Yep.
like they just
Yep.
spoiled it.
Yep. No, trust me, if they had them, I'd have got them all. But
Yeah, I kind of want that one and Gray Skull. Those are the two that I'm really trying to aim for.
Yep.
Honestly. So, but anyways, folks, we'll be back and we'll catch you guys later. Peace.